What is up, good people? Jungle Ink here. Hope you're doing well. A lot of people questioning, why am I hating on Chris Larson? And I guess it's a fair question because I've done a lot of videos in the past, probably more about Chris than even Brad or David, talking about what a visionary he is, what a great entrepreneur. And now I'm saying he should either step down or be removed from the Ripple board. So I think it's a fair question and I should get into it. So we'll talk a little bit in this video on why I'm not the biggest fan of Chris Larson any longer. And it's not just because he got hacked. Look, things happen. Mistakes happen. And it's not easy to self-custody. One little error and it's all over Red Rover. So I don't hate on him per se for losing access to 200 million XRP, but that's just one in a long list of follies. We'll get into it. But before we do, I think we should talk about the XRP Ledger Foundation because I saw a lot of people saying, what does the foundation even do? Why do we care about them? Like, this new proposal by Ripple is so great. Like, we should get behind it. And they have no idea what they're talking about. The great work that the foundation does today. A Ripple employee should not be talking about how to improve things, how to pull power away from the current foundation. The people at the XRP Ledger Foundation, they should be the ones to tell us the extra help they need and how to improve things. And I think this was just a great example of the work they are doing behind the scenes that no one recognizes. Chris Larson, sitting around on his yacht, floating around lecturing people about how they shouldn't use energy, but, that doesn't apply to him. Or he's speeding around in his $2 million Porsche, right? And he loses access to 200 million XRP, and he has no idea what's going on. He can spend millions to surveil citizens in San Francisco, but he can't keep an eye on his own stash of XRP. Who caught the issue? It wasn't Chris, and it wasn't Ripple. It was the XRP Ledger Foundation. We see the initial investigation was done by the XRP Ledger Foundation and initiated as it was happening in real time. They caught this. Ripple is now leading the investigation for Chris after we did a complete handover for the data. We don't know how much XRP actually splashed onto the market. It was enough to sink the price of XRP, the value, by 5% on a day when prices weren't going down. What if the whole 200 million were sold? What kind of damage would that do? Chris Larson has a heck of a lot more XRP than just 200 million. He has billions that he took. Didn't ask permission. Didn't ask OpenCoin if, put it up to a vote. He took billions of XRP for himself, for his friend Jed McCaleb, and his other friend Arthur Brito. They took that XRP for themselves. And if that's not secure, what happens if someone gets their hand on all of that XRP? What kind of damage could that do? We're talking long-term, maybe damage you would never recover from if someone would have got access somehow to all of that XRP and dumped it on the market. This is a dangerous situation for one person to hold that much of the asset and not be safe. And just as simple as that. If someone was able to get access to his account, it's unforgivable. It's ridiculous. Never should have happened. This isn't a regular citizen here. This is a former CEO of Ripple. This is a current board member. This is one of the highest ranking individuals there is. And he loses access to 200 million XRP. Unbelievable. Thank goodness for the great people over at the XRP Ledger Foundation that caught this in real time and stopped it from being worse than it was. So we have people here. This meme, it does look like me. I got to admit to this. My buddy, Crypto Meme Guy, put this out. This is me apparently asking Chris to step away from Ripple. And of course, Brad telling me no. Why do I feel like this? And again, it's not just what happened here the other day that cost us all 5%. When we look at Ripple, they weren't just harassed by the SEC. Also, FinCEN got nailed by two separate government agencies and two of the biggest actions against the company. Like, why? Why is this happening? Is it just bad luck? Well, when we follow Chris Larson, this isn't new to him. Look at when he was CEO of Prosper. Prosper, back to making loans, but still battling the SEC. If you look what happened there, it might feel quite familiar to you people that have owned XRP through this exodus. Silicon Valley entrepreneur Chris Larson stated, Prosper Marketplace Inc. is an alternative lender. The Securities and Exchange Commission, though, saw it differently, contending that Prosper is an investment firm in disguise. If it's continuously you, and you claim it's everyone else coming after you, there's one thing in common here. Wherever Chris Larsen goes, there's problems with government. The startup shut down for 9 months and spent $4 million to get into compliance with the SEC. And again, here he is, CEO of Prosper. Major issues with the SEC. You have all the crypto companies in the world out there. Ripple's the only one that gets nailed by FinCEN. They think it's okay not to follow. This is not the SEC. You don't mess around with FinCEN. They took $400,000 in cash without doing, the proper paperwork. Like this is some kind of joke. And it wasn't just the fine they had to pay. That was semi-de minimis. $450,000 they had to forfeit. A $700,000 civil money penalty, which these are the early days. Those are significant. Nowadays, it would be nothing. But they had to go through an audit for years with FinCEN, where they would comb through all their books. This was major. This could have been the end of Ripple before they ever really got going. Once again, Chris Larsen's here. FinCEN's kicking in your door. Chris Larsen is with Prosper. The SEC's kicking in their door. Then we see what happened with the SEC with Ripple. It's not a coincidence. This guy has problems everywhere he goes. Then, we're in this very hostile environment with regulators. And we need all of the backing we can get. And true, when Ripple got sued, a lot of people laughed. They thought it was funny. And now they understand that everyone has to stick together. And they're in this fight together. And we saw that happening. We saw Coinbase doing amicus briefs for Ripple and all sorts of other people rallying. And what does this guy do? He decides to spend $5 million in this anti-Bitcoin campaign. Do you think that's going to help foster, cooperation with people within crypto? When you look at Kraken, Coinbase, at that time Binance US, when they were a major US exchange, how much of their business is centered around Bitcoin? Like, you are just causing problems where you don't need to. This is nonsense. No one's going to let Chris Larsen within a mile of Bitcoin's code. It's just a nonsense campaign that he did. And he's causing issues and turmoil where there shouldn't be. And maybe he's not CEO today of Ripple, but when people hear Chris Larsen, that association is made. And it's silly. And this is why it's stupid, because I know of at least 2 Ripple executives who value, as an investment at least, Bitcoin more than they do their XRP holdings. Absolutely. Without a doubt. It's not even debatable. Like, come on, what is this guy doing? This guy is a moron of the highest order when it comes to causing problems when it's unnecessary. Don't forget this. That Jed McCaleb blow up, that was his little spat. People that think, Ripple is great and XRP is great. Remember, Jed put this all together. Jed hired David Schwartz. Jed hired Chris Larsen. Jed had the idea that, crypto doesn't need mining. It's the public ledger. That's what matters. And he got in this spat with Chris Larsen. By the way, Chris Larsen was part of this little group that decided it was good if they each individually held billions in XRP. And so not only did, really Chris cause this blow up with Jed, but because they all took XRP personally, everyone had to put up with Jed just dumping on the market for years. They never should have had that XRP. That all should have went to OpenCoin. It was not theirs to take. So if during that time you were mad at Jed for dumping his XRP, you should have been mad at Chris for allowing him to have it in the first place. No less the billions that Chris has. No less the billions that Arthur has. Never should have happened. And Chris said, you know what? They're going to come after me personally, so I'm entitled to it. That doesn't matter. You can't just take stuff, company assets, for yourself. He also created a lot of enemies, a lot of early investors, people like Jesse Powell from Kraken. A lot of reasons why it was such an uphill battle to get listed the first time in the U.S. All sorts of dopey coins trading on U.S. exchanges. What, couldn't you buy XRP? He made a lot of enemies. People were pissed off. I'm not saying he stole it, but they are. They're saying he stole billions of XRP in company funds, essentially. Caused lots of turmoil and problems. You just look at the things he's into. He'll lecture you about energy usage, but it's okay for him to have a yacht. He's spending millions of dollars with these creepy surveillance systems in New York City, or San Francisco, excuse me, to watch citizens and things like the guy's in creepy stuff. He wants to dictate policy to you that he's not going to follow himself. And everything he's involved with eventually has some problem with some government regulator. They have problems with FinCEN and the SEC, and you look at all the crypto stuff that's going on out there, a lot of shady stuff, and they don't have any issues, but this guy's like a magnet. That should tell you all you need to know. My opinion, the longer this guy is with, the Ripple, part of the board, involved in any way, it's just going to be continuous nonsense and problems. He's got to go. Let me know what you think down below. And as always, please like, please subscribe. The revolution will be televised right here on Jungle Link.